What is up, Splash fam? My name is Danny, and I'm the instructional designer here on the education team. Today, I'm going to be breaking down one of the hottest topics in Splash, Designer versus Designer Pro mode. Together, we're going to take a look at key features of each mode so you can determine which world you see yourself living in. In Designer mode, you'll be working within the safe space of pre-approved templates for your brand, so swapping out images and copy will be a breeze. Designer Pro mode is perfect for a team's designer or power user because it offers much more sophisticated, detailed design control. It's important to note, however, that Designer Pro users will need additional education through our free online training courses. Hope you're up for the challenge. Let's start by talking about all the ways that the Splash Design tool allows you to control event design in three main categories: theme, structure, and style. Let's start by taking a look at something that has arguably the biggest impact on the page: color. In Designer mode, we are limited to the color palette sets we are shown in the Theme tab by default. In Designer Pro, we have a bit more creative freedom. Not only can we edit the color values of the swatches, but we can also add more swatches to our palette and even create additional color sets. Awesome. When it comes to branding, a make or break asset is fonts. Let's see how you can handle fonts in each mode. Similar to color in Designer mode, we are restricted to the font sets that come included with the theme. In Designer Pro, I can click the edit button and swap the current fonts out with the other options in the Splash Public Fonts library. I can also add up to 5 fonts per event and even upload my own custom fonts. This is crucial for a lot of companies with very specific branding. Additionally, similar to my color palette, I can establish multiple font sets if needed. To wrap up this category, let's take a look at theme saving. In Splash, a theme is essentially another word for template. Theme saving is one of the most crucial differentiators between Designer mode and Designer Pro. Users who are trusted to create custom reusable templates for their organization need access to Designer Pro to accomplish this assignment. Now, to quickly recap, the theme category focuses on editing the colors and fonts of your events and helps you decide if the ability to create and save your own custom themes is vital or not. Let's switch gears now and take a look at a few features in regards to working with structure in Splash. Structure is all about making edits to the actual content on your page. In both Designer and Designer Pro, I can edit any text or image I want simply by clicking into it. I can even make edits to the date and venue components by selecting the element and accessing the 2 buttons on the right-hand side. The most essential building blocks in Splash are something that we call blocks. Ironic, I know. Here's where we're going to start to see some differences between the Designer and Designer Pro modes. In Designer mode, I can add new blocks by clicking on the plus button on page and browsing Splash's block library to find one that fulfills my needs. If I select a block, I can clone it, hide it, or delete it. I can also reorder and rename them all along the Layout tab to help me stay organized. In Designer Pro mode, I can do all the same things as the Designer mode user can, but additionally, I can save a block I designed as a custom block so that I am able to share it with my other team members or use it again in the future. That's a lot of functionality. Now, check this out. Let's take a look at a feature exclusive to Designer Pro mode. Only in Designer Pro mode am I able to add an element to a container or block. I can add in an element by clicking the small blue circle on the page to launch the element library. These include text elements, buttons, images, navigation menus, audio, video, and even inline forms. Before we move on, let's summarize the structure category real fast. While Designer and Designer Pro share a lot of similarities in this category, the main difference revolves around elements. If you desire the ability to add new elements to a block that weren't already included by default, Designer Pro access is a necessity. Our last category is style. Here at Splash, we know what good style is, so listen up for these last few features that you are not going to want to miss. When clicked into an element or block, the Layout tab houses a few tabs that allow a designer to alter the style of things on page. In Designer mode, a user is limited to just the background, font, and border tabs. But in Designer Pro, a bunch more editing options are unveiled. To demonstrate these differences, let's select one of the most popular elements found on a splash page, the button element. Our buttons work hard for us, getting us all those registrations and directing people around the page, so let's show them we appreciate them and make them look good. In Designer mode, I can change the background of my button to either be a solid color or an image, and also change the look and feel of the font. I can customize the style of the hover state. And finally, the border of my button makes everything feel nice and tidy, so let's change the width of this border, the color, and even the radius. In Designer Pro mode, not only can I do all of the above, but now my button is heading to the most high-class salon there is.
Cool.
I can enhance the button by changing its width and add more breathing room inside or outside of the button using my margin and padding controls. By the way, these controls are not just for buttons. Margin and padding are crucial tools that allow you to manipulate space throughout the entirety of your event page. I can also change the alignment of the button using the float feature within the positioning tab, alter the opacity, and even some advanced custom CSS under the properties tab. Pretty cool, huh? Taking a final look at our style category before we close, this is the portion of the tool that allows the designer to make substantial alterations to the aesthetic of every block and element. Adjusting the background, font, and border will be identical in both Designer and Designer Pro modes, but the key to unlocking the world of spatial enhancement, alignment, and more will be in Designer Pro mode. And that about wraps it up. Theme, structure, and style, and all the appropriate options that go along with them. I hope after seeing today's video you feel inspired and comfortable to jump into whichever of these two worlds makes most sense for you. With all that being said, I thank you for exploring the Designer and Designer Pro modes with me today. We can't wait to see what you create.